Let's. This is a fun thing, and then we'll take some IMs. Maybe one call. We'll get out of here. Is this? Yeah. Is the helipad is the funniest one?
I like the other one, but they're both good.
Well, maybe we can play both. I mean, what's interesting, and I'll just put this in context. I saw on Twitter somebody talking about how much they enjoyed watching this New York City council hearing. It's New York City Council, but I guess they have a subcommittee on economic development. And this person on Twitter, and I can't remember who it was, said, this is really amazing to see because on the Seattle City Council, they genuflect and would never, ever treat Amazon in this way. The New York City Council, however, and this is what it's all about. Amazon is coming here to build the amount of power so that the New York City Council cannot talk to them this way. That is what their recipe has been in Seattle. And they want to use New York less to exercise political control, but as a vehicle through the media. They're in D.C. with the hopes of building that political control on a national level. They're in New York to build it through the media. And so these New York City Council people are probably not benefiting from their presence in the way that Amazon is used to. But here they are, at the very least, rhetorically giving them a talking to. Let's start with this one about the helipad.
Why do you need a helipad?
No. So the just to be very clear, the Amazon will be paying for the helipad. There will not be city or state taxpayers.
I would hope so.
For that.
I mean, no. Why do you need a helipad?
Yeah, as we were trying to have a very comprehensive agreement. We were trying to look out in the future and anticipate what future needs might be, and so we were examining potential safety or security issues. In the interest of transparency, we wanted to put this provision in the MOU, but we also wanted to make sure that it would not be a disturbance to the neighborhood or to the residents. So there are provisions in the MOU that limit the number of landings to a maximum of 120 per year, and also ensure that any helicopters don't fly over the neighborhood but would fly over the water or the development site.
Do you realize how out of touch that seems for the average New Yorker? I mean, that's a very out of touch. We have 6 million people who take the subways every day. 2 million people who take the buses. They're crumbling. To have a helipad be part of this is, I mean, it's crazy. So your senior vice president, Jay Carney, said that incentives did not drive this process for you. That's what he said publicly. Is that true?
So talent was the major driver, and that's why we're very excited to locate here in New York. As you all know, New York has an amazing talent pool, and we're ready and eager to start hiring New Yorkers. But incentives were a factor in our decision.
But they didn't. Your senior vice president, Jay Carney, said they didn't drive the process. Is that true?
So talent was the key driver, but in fact, incentives were also a factor.
Would you be willing to give up some of those incentives so they could go to some of the other things we've talked about?
So again, our project is going to have a positive economic impact, and we're only going to receive the incentives after we create these jobs and make these investments.
We're not getting straight answers. Does the word monopoly bother you? Because do you think monopolistic behavior helps or hurts us as a society?
Well, monopolistic behavior is against the competition laws. But if you're talking about, if you have a question, for Amazon, our goals are to lower prices and provide better convenience and selection for our customers.
How do I marry that New York City councilman?
That was amazing.
That was awesome.
I was like, the laws, which I know nothing about, but we're almost certainly playing lobbyists to get rid of the tiniest last vestiges of.
Is Jay Carney the same Jay Carney who was the spokesman for the Obama administration? It is?
Wow.
Wow. Is there a single
Still
member?
on the Silicon Valley grift.
Don't boo, lobby. Is there a single member?
Don't bitch, contract.
Is there a single member of the Obama administration that went into an industry or working for a business that is not deemed problematic?
I get no.
Eric
no.
Holder's the best case scenario. You just went
Holder
back.
still is in that corporate law.
Yeah, he
firm,
just went
though.
back to the corporate law firm. At least that's where he was.
Right.
Like he hasn't like traded
All
in
of the other
on-
main players in the.
They're all at Uber, or they're like
And
organizing.
if they're at a consulting, and if
advocating.
they're at like
They're
some type of-
advocating for some like third world dictator. Essentially.
yeah, if they're at a consulting shop, and
More
then, and then
women
also
dictators.
Robert. Robert, I don't see why we can't join together. And why should the secret police only be run by men? Robert Gibbs is at McDonald's, so he's the blue collar one.
Right. Oh, good for him.
Man.
Good for him.
I've actually been learning a little bit more about Amazon since this whole deal came to our town. Because the DSA we've been having a lot of meetings. We've been doing some canvassing, so people in the neighborhood know like the full extent of what Amazon's going to do, not just to their neighborhood, not just to our city, but the world at large. And I just found out Amazon, what you think of as their frontward facing business, like, selling you things that they send you in the mail really
not
quickly.
where they make their money.
It's not where they make their money. They
They
do tech infrastructure for like the cops and all sorts of evil shit.
It's basically through the Amazon Web Services, AWS, and the server things. And if you had listened to the episode we did with what's her face? What was Mitchell on
Stacey Mitchell?
Amazon, Stacey Mitchell. That you would have known that.
Is that the one? Did she explain in that interview why? I do remember that.
She wrote a
interview.
piece that Amazon wants to become the market.
Right.
They don't
But
want to
is she
be
the one that had the. It's an old data point about Amazon, but why Bezos chose books as the first thing. See, there's a really.
I don't think that's her, but it is
okay, but that's
smart. I know what you're
fascinating, right?
talking
Like it
about.
has nothing. It was
It's the
like,
metadata.
That was the best way to get metadata on people.
You can tell a lot
That's
from somebody
the
from
reason
the books
that they started with books.
But
that's the launching point to people's best sort of full aggregate understanding of them.
But you know what? There's probably not that much we can do to kill the deal at this point, but we're already seeing union activity at the Amazon warehouse in Staten Island.
Yes.
There's a group called Tech Action in New York that's like tech workers that are talking about different ways to deal with this. So New York is a union town. I say bring it on.
Good time to leverage power against Amazon. That's why those guys in Staten Island did that now, was because they know Amazon cannot afford to, right now, in the heat of the scrutiny they're getting, the Amazon cannot afford to shut down their attempts to unionize their situation, and largely because of city council people who, do we know who the city council guy is? What's his name?
I looked him up. His name is not at my fingertips. He is I know he's the only openly HIV positive city council member.
Now, I don't know. What do I know about it? All I know is what's on the internet.
But here he is.
We
now,
should write that in all of the sound sheet descriptions.
What is
for
it?
Sam.
Corey Johnson.
Corey Johnson, right. And
I hate Corey Johnson.
here is Corey Johnson. And, McKelwey, I think, is friends with him. And
We should get him into another office. We should keep him running. Work him up the food chain. He should become mayor of New York City. What the hell?
Here
Enough
is
of this
Corey
big
Johnson
beanstalk moron.
pursuing this question as to why Amazon needs a $3 billion incentive to come to the center of the media universe and a place where supposedly there's such huge amount of talent.
Amazon is a $1 trillion company. Is that accurate? You're approximately valued at $1 trillion?
I think it's close to that, yeah.
Close to that. So why should we give you this money?
So these incentives, they're performance-based, which means that we will not receive any money until we create jobs and make these investments.
But you're worth $1 trillion. Why do you need our $3 billion and we have crumbling subways, crumbling public housing, people without health care, public schools that are overcrowding? Why do you need our $3 billion?
This project is going to provide over $186 billion in positive economic impact to the state over the next 25 years.
Pause it for one
That
second.
includes-
Now, just contemplate this. Let's just take him at face value. It's going to cause $186 billion of positive impact for New York. How much is it going to cause for Amazon? I mean, how many billions is it going to cause for Amazon? Go.
over the next 25 years. That includes over $14 billion in additional tax payments. to the
That
state and
analysis
over-
was done by someone who was hired by the state of New York and not by neutral third-party academics or companies that could provide that economic analysis. What you're citing was done by people who were hired to do that on behalf of this project. It wasn't done by a neutral third party. So why do you need if you're worth $1 trillion, why do you need our $3 billion?
We believe this project will be a positive economic impact for the city and the state. We're here to create jobs, and not only our 25,000 direct jobs, but the thousands of indirect jobs that will result from this.
Would you be willing to go through ULURP?
Not at this process. I believe we are proceeding with the GPP plan.
So you're saying no to the community who you want to be neighbors with. You're saying no to the city council and the local city council member. You're saying no, you won't go through ULURP.
I don't think that's an option at this time.
It is an option. You're saying no to it. Okay.
I'm not sure what ULURP is, but I have a feeling it's another program. It is the Uniform Land Use Review Procedure, which basically assesses the implications of the use of city land. And look, here's the bottom line. If Amazon is going to be paying $10 billion worth of taxes or $5 billion, whatever the number is, multiply that by at least 2, and you will get how much money they are making. And so why do we need to subsidize them? Look, they pretended they were doing a nationwide search. And they found, this is like Dick Cheney's search for a vice president. It was always going to be New York. It was always going to be Dick Cheney. The reason why they want to come to New York, if it's the $3 billion, first of all, New York can handle Amazon not coming. The only reason why there will be a different company, there may be even smaller companies who still take advantage of the same benefits. But there are societal issues that go beyond any type of benefits and even beyond how much we're paying Amazon to come here that make Amazon problematic. But they don't need that $3 billion. They don't. They don't.
Yep. It's also already affecting the housing market in Northern Virginia, where the other place that they're going to.
It's affecting the housing market in Queens. Because there's all sorts of stories of Amazon executives and other people coming in and buying up that whole area because down the road, it's going to drive people further and further out of the city.
And also there was another, Virginia, that's the other place. They were going to go to D.C.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to complete the point. This is a whole fraudulent nonsense.
Yep. And Lee Carter had some pretty good statements calling them out and debunking the idea that this will actually benefit the majority of people in his district.
All right.